Maryland's not the only jurisdiction looking to challenge Whitaker's appointment. San Francisco is also demanding the White House provide a legal basis for why the president bypassed Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein. As we await an answer, joining me now is Republican Senator from Utah, Mike Lee, who sits on the Senate Judiciary Committee, where we can have a lot more action. I saw another round of nominations today, so that's not slowing down.
It's going to be great. We're looking forward to pushing ahead, getting the president's people confirmed, getting more federal judges confirmed.
The left's worst nightmare. Senator Feinstein has said that there's been a record-breaking pace by this administration, and she didn't mean that as a compliment. But we know that's part of the work you will continue to do.
But I take it as such. It's a real compliment, and I appreciate it from Senator Feinstein.
All right. I want to ask you quickly, because I know I consider you a constitutional scholar in many ways, and this idea of Matt Whitaker, there are opinions all over the place from conservatives, the left, the right, about whether or not his appointment was legit. Have you reached a decision on that?
The Office of Legal Counsel, as Catherine Herridge mentioned just a few minutes ago, is going to issue an opinion. This is going to carry significant weight. We've got some of the top legal minds in the entire U.S. government based in the Office of Legal Counsel. We expect an OLC opinion to issue as soon as tomorrow, and I want to take a look at that. My understanding is they've got some very compelling arguments that need to be considered.
In the meantime, there are those who already say they fear that he's going to be up to no good, including Congressman Adam Schiff. He says this: Whitaker, by the way, the title is Matthew Whitaker, we're watching you. Whitaker could seek access to the special counsel's plans and evidence, including grand jury testimony, and would be in a position not just to funnel information to Trump and his legal defense team, but also to abuse his authority to cripple or end the investigation. Of course, most of the objection about him is because of the position he has taken in the past with regard to Mueller's investigation.
Yeah, look, the fact that people say this is what he could do, sure, there are all kinds of people in government who could abuse their power. The mere fact that he could shouldn't disqualify him in advance as a matter of moral character from serving in this position. So I don't really think that's a fair argument to make. Just because he could abuse government power, we shouldn't have to assume that he will.
Okay. Do you think that the special counsel needs protection? Because the Democrats are talking about linking a measure guaranteeing him protection against being fired by the president or Matt Whitaker or someone else to a must-pass spending bill. They're spending that's going to run out for key government agencies by December 7th.
What they're essentially arguing for is to replicate the previously existing independent counsel, one that operated as a sort of quasi-fourth branch of government. Congress made a conscious decision to allow that to expire and to not put that back in place. We have within the executive branch of government a chief executive officer. That is the President of the United States. I don't think it's a good idea to create a de facto fourth branch of government, which you would be doing if you replicated the old independent counsel framework.
I want to talk to you about something that you've been very active on, which is this bipartisan push for reform to the justice system. We're hearing reports tonight that the president may have something to say about this tomorrow. You may have been able to gain his support. You know you have objections from even colleagues that are GOP colleagues like Tom Cotton saying this is a bad idea. It's a jailbreak situation. What can you tell us about where you stand right now?
Over the last 8 years, ever since I've been in the Senate, I've been working aggressively across the aisle to come up with a criminal justice reform package that could pass the U.S. Congress and be signed into law by the president. I think we're coming very close. We've got an opportunity to reform a federal criminal justice system that's in need of repair. Sometimes you end up with a 55-year prison sentence for somebody who sold 3 dime bag quantities of marijuana. That's a problem. That's something that we're trying to fix, and we look forward to meeting with the president tomorrow at the White House at 3:30 to discuss this.
Well, there are reports that you will have a good conversation with the president, that he's expected to support you. Is it about lowering sentences, helping those who are already behind bars, or will this be prospective in nature?
It's both. It deals, in some cases, with those who are already behind bars, but the focus there is not on addressing their sentences so much as it is getting them ready to re-enter society and not re-offend. Prospectively, it deals with sentencing reform. So those who have yet to be sentenced, just giving judges a little bit more discretion in some cases, not always having to throw the book at them, throw a 55-year minimum mandatory sentence where something lower might be appropriate.
All right, let us know how the meeting goes tomorrow.
Will do.
Great to have you.
Thank you.